It's just like TSA. They used to have a lot of good people there. They were after 9/11. They were just hired. They thought it was for security. They bought the hoax. But they all quit when it's like, now take a 3-year-old behind closed doors and take their underwear off. I mean, it's like, what? I mean, well, again, just hire Jerry Sandusky. They've been hiring all these pedophiles around the airports anyways. It's come out in the news. Defrock, priest, you name it. This is the hell we're going in here. A bunch of crazy people who were repressed or something when they were growing up, so they turned into perverts. Continuing. I mean, can you imagine having a job like Homeland Security had and all you hire is your special friends? Something based on something like that? Your special friends? Special friends, you know what I mean? And it just goes on. She's now been appointed by Mayor Bloomberg as commissioner, City Department of Correction. Yeah, maybe she'll go out and be a police chief in Colorado, and then magically something will happen like Bloomberg's other minion. The court papers also allege that Suzanne Barr, Napolitano's chief of staff, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, you know, the folks that legalize the illegals and order the IRS to give them fake ID so they can then attach them to real Social Security and rip people off and ruin their credit and have the IRS grab the citizens' bank accounts who've been set up. You mean stuff like that? Has engaged in numerous acts of sexually offensive behavior intended to humiliate and intimidate male employees. Yeah, that's what I've noticed in my life. And men do stuff too. I mean, men get attracted to women. They go after them in the workplace, and it's wrong. In fact, we've got a no fraternization thing going on here that I've got to enforce. But the point is that you ought to read this stuff. It's just that women use sex as the weapon. And you know, and then when men sit there and bite on it, it's a problem. But with this, it's the opposite. It's just a bunch of women up top laughing at the men, making fun of them all day as they walk around in their black knee-high jack boots with their bull whips. We'll be right back. Janet and her little love nest up there. Yeah, but that wasn't enough, was it? You had to rub the men's faces in it. What a nice group. These are nice women that wear shirts saying, I had an abortion. Imagine if you've had an abortion, that's one thing, but imagine, I had one and I liked it. It was fun. They'd be like saying, I love the time I chopped my finger off. It was fun. It's a bunch of lunatics who want the TSA to abuse your family and train them for pedophile abuse. Top psychologists have been on record saying it trains them for that. Boy, this is some sordid stuff about old Janet. Cousin It, or whatever her name is. It goes on as we break this down. A veteran U.S. law enforcement official has filed a blockbuster discrimination lawsuit against Homeland Security. Secretary Janet Napolitano, charging she pushed him aside to make way for a less qualified woman who was enjoying a long-standing relationship with the anti-terror chief. The woman, Dora Sherrero, I think I pronounced that right, was later appointed by Mayor Bloomberg as commissioner over the slaves of New York, I should add, of the City Department of Correction. The dungeon pits. The court papers also allege that Suzanne Barr, Napolitano's chief of staff at Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the ones that engaged in treason and sedition and other criminal activities, raising our defenses, lowering the shields, has engaged in numerous acts of sexually offensive behavior intended to humiliate and intimidate male employees. Well, yeah, these women are like super males is what they're like. Barr's alleged act included calling one man in his hotel room and screaming at him that she wanted his bleeper. Oh, yeah, they really hate men's male organs for whatever reason. In the back, oh, my gosh, I can't even say this on air. The suit was filed by James T. Haynes, Jr., special agent in charge of New York investigations for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Hayes, who began, it just goes on, and I can't even read this on air. I can't even read this on air. I mean, these women, you know, it's like they say in Team America, it's not about sex, Gary. It's about power. And that's what these women are doing. This is how they're dominating everyone. And it is just thoroughly disgusting. But it also happens the other way. Men get into power and have special friends who they hire and put into all the positions. Not because they're qualified, not because they're the best of the job, but because, well, they go to the same clubs. We'll just leave it at that. You know, take showers in the same showers. And, well, you know. And, again, the issue here is I don't have hate for people out there. I don't like the fact that they have hate for me. Because a lot of these groups, they put down the family. They say they want to get rid of it. They don't like the fact that, some men like women and some women like men. And some people like the Founding Fathers and the Second Amendment. And some of us never get tired of just, the way things have been for tens of thousands of years in human development. Some of us just, it fits, we like it. And we just don't want our school children in government brainwashing centers at age 5 being taught how to do things sexually I didn't learn about till college. How about you just keep your sexual mittens off our children's brains and don't try to corrupt them, you perverts? How about that? How about if you want to do that, you go straight to Hades? That'd be a nice place for you, wouldn't it? How about you keep your hands off the innocents? And how about you leave our country and our liberties alone? You can... I'm going to keep my money. I'm going to keep my guns like, a famous country singer who's been persecuted for his free speech has said, Hank Williams Jr. I'm going to keep my money, my guns, my family, my shotgun, my rifle, my four-wheel drive. I do live back in the woods, you see. The woman, the kids, and the dogs and me. And I do say grace. I do say amen. And if you don't like it, you know what I think about that. And so... you can keep all your change. I'll keep my prosperity. I'll keep my strength. I'll keep my honor. I'll keep the fact that I'm not backing down. Even if you kill me, I'll keep that. I'll keep my American heritage and my Texas heritage and my heritage of liberty. You keep all the rest of your garbage to yourselves. You understand that? And get out of my way. We're identifying you. We're rallying humanity against you. And we will defeat you. Because if God be with us, who can stand against us?
We're on the march. The Empire.
And all of you, black, white, Hispanic, old, young, you are the Johnny B. Goods. Liberty and freedom is popular, and we are restoring the republic and freedom worldwide. All right. Shifting gears to a very serious subject. I'm going to read some of these quotes there after we talk to our guest a little bit. CFR strategist last week praises al-Qaeda. Actually, this is just Tuesday, August 7th. But the CFR report came out last week. Paul Watson wrote about it on Tuesday. CFR strategist praises al-Qaeda bombings in Syria. This is from the Council on Foreign Relations, online publication. The Syrian rebels, the Rebels, would be immeasurably weaker today without al-Qaeda in their ranks. By and large, Free Syrian Army, FSA battalions are tired, divided, sounds like the criminal government, chaotic and ineffective, feeling abandoned by the West. You mean the bankers that have occupied the West. Rebel forces are increasingly demoralized as they square off with the Assad regime's superior weaponry and professional army, writes the senior fellow at the Middle Eastern Studies with the CFR. Al-Qaeda fighters, however, may help improve morale. The influx of jihadists brings discipline, religious fervor, battle experience from Iraq, funding from Sunni sympathizers in the Gulf, and most importantly, deadly results, like 9/11. In short, the FSA needs Al-Qaeda now. And I read last week that London Guardian article where they're like, man, they are really tough. And they got nice black uniforms and they fly their flags. And the Guardian said Al-Qaeda leading the freedom fight and blowing up churches and synagogues. In fact, that was in the news yesterday. Blowing up, ethnic cleansing in Africa. They're in Libya lining up the blacks. It's their country, machine gunning tens of thousands. NATO landing 3,000 Al-Qaeda in Tripoli, blowing up the city. It's so loving. Of course, I'm here being sarcastic how sick this is. But joining us is a lady who goes bravely just by Syrian Girl. Her family, she's been with us before, I'm going to give you a brief bio, actually left because of political persecution under the Assad senior. Okay, so she comes from one of the big, high-up families in the country. Won't say where she lives, but she joins us via Skype. So this is somebody who didn't even like Assad, okay? I mean, that's like Steve Pachinik doesn't like Assad, was arrested by his father, tried to, basically overthrow those countries. Steve Pachinik, former head of the State Department Black Ops, said, yeah, this is wrong. And I can't believe I'm having to say Russia, I understand why Russia's trying to keep Assad in. Because they're blowing up and burning the churches and killing Alawite Muslims who are really Christians and killing a bunch of other, it is hellish. And if you're a Jew, and that's one of the oldest Jewish communities in the world, you're just dead. If you're a Christian, you'll probably be dead. Alawite, you're dead. And they are just blowing everything up. And it's just incredible. So Syrian Girl's been very brave. She's had the globalists, of course, attack her and demonize her, because when you're over the target, you get flack. Everything she talked about here, I don't know, 8, 9 months ago has now been confirmed. Everything Tarpley, when he traveled there 6, 7, 8 months ago, was longer ago, and was in areas where Al-Qaeda, they kill people and then blame it on Assad. They blow up schools and blame it on Assad. I remember 6 months ago, our media would say events were done by Assad when they've now admitted it was Al-Qaeda. This is called peaceful protesting when you blow up a school or blow up a police department by these people, by the scum that runs our country. So joining us from an undisclosed location is Syrian Girl via video Skype. If radio listeners are tuning in, you can go to Prisonplanet.tv to see the video. If not, we'll archive it later today for everybody for free. But good to have you here, Syrian Girl. Tell us, since we talked a few months ago, the breakdown from family you've got in Syria, what the latest intel is, because your intelligence you've given us has turned out to be absolutely on target.
Well, according to what sources on the ground, I think that, any sort of sympathy people had with the, as they call it, rebellion, it's really like a foreign-funded insurgency, is out, especially when the major cities have been attacked by outsiders. It's not like a ingrown sort of rebellion that's happening from inside the city. These people are coming from the outskirt towns, or they're coming from around the Middle East, and they're attacking the 2 major cities, which is Damascus and Aleppo. And people's lives have been disrupted. There's been bombings. There's been shooting on the street. My aunt was in hospital, and she was, in a very critical state. And at the same time, she had to deal with the fact that there was bombing just outside the hospital. So thank God that's over now, because the military has now secured Damascus, which is the capital city. And at the moment, the same thing is happening in Aleppo. The military is again just about to declare a victory in Aleppo. They're not quite there yet. But the insurgents, or the foreign mercenaries, there's so many names for them. They're inside the outskirt of Aleppo, which is the most populous city, but not the capital. And they're in a place called Salah ad-Din, which in Western language you'd probably understand more as Saladin. So, yes.
And bottom line, they're basically Sunni Wahhabist jihadis who just want to get rid of all the Muslim sects that are there. I mean, that's admitted. This is a Saudi Arabian, Western-backed, scorched earth extermination program being hailed by the Nobel Peace Prize winner as loving.
Well, you have the Wahhabis, this sort of, it's called the FSA, the Free Syrian Army, whatever. It's got many different factions, and some of them are so extreme. The Wahhabis, which are affiliated to Al-Qaeda, it's basically the same as Al-Qaeda. They hate everybody that isn't Wahhabi. They don't just hate Christians. They don't just hate Alawites. They also hate Sunnis, because to them, Sunnis are bad Muslims as well. So it's not just, Sunnis being the ones against the government, because actually the majority of Syria are Sunni. I come from a Sunni background, but we don't want anything to do with those sectarian, New World Order controlled puppets of the imperialists. So whilst you have like Wahhabis taking power, as the Guardian and the CFR said, inside the insurgency, there are some Muslim Brotherhood elements in there as well. And they're also controlled, of course, by Turkey, which is a Muslim Brotherhood country. And they're being supported by the new Muslim Brotherhood wave that's taken over under the auspices of the Arab Spring.
Let's talk about the massacres, the churches, the jihadis dressed up in Christian Orthodox robes, desecrating churches, killing people. It's now come out, confirmed what you said. I don't know, the first time you came on 7, 8, 9 months ago or longer, that they are doing fake newscasts. Syrian Danny, it did turn out they had people laying down like they were dead, fake burials. I mean, it's just amazing. And Anderson Cooper just plays along with it.